Do we have to stop for the World Cup? Do we really? Oh, it's the worst timing. We're in such a great run of form, and do you know what? I'm really excited for the World Cup. It's great. It's just so wrong that it's coming mid-season, but yeah, for a lot of teams, this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for them to reset. But as an Arsenal fan, and I'm sure some other clubs that are doing really well, Newcastle, for example, it couldn't be a worse time to interrupt. You know, we're in such a good run, and well, it is what it is, guys. It is official. Christmas has come early. Every Arsenal fan will be feeling very relieved right now because we are going to be 5 points clear on Christmas Day, guaranteed. We were going to be top of the league for Christmas anyway. Thank you, Tone. Really appreciate you. You should be on the plane to Qatar next week. But hey, we're top of the league. I just, before we actually get into this, I just need to make sure. Yeah, look, 5 points. Oof. Next game, West Ham on Boxing Day, I believe, isn't it? 26th, yeah. So it's now 5-6 weeks until then, and we're top of the league. I can't believe it. I really cannot believe it. Newcastle, by the way. Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it? What happened to Chelsea this season? 3 losses followed, 2 draws followed by 3 losses. I think, honestly, Potter's having an absolute nightmare, isn't he? He needs to do some spells to recover their form. Anyway, first of all, got to mention my granddad, Wolves fan. I'm sorry if you somehow are watching this video, granddad. Lots of love to you and grandma, but tonight we were at war and Arsenal came out on top. And I think you predicted it yourself. I think a lot of people were expecting Arsenal to turn up tonight and get the job done. But honestly, that first half was not so great. But we came out in the second half and we did look a lot better. I mean, the lineup, I had no problem with it. Obviously, we had a massive issue with Granit Xhaka going off after just 15 minutes. Some people saying it might be food poisoning or he's just unwell. He wasn't feeling well. So it's not an injury. He will be going to the World Cup. He will be fine. But yeah, when we lost him, I did think, ooh, this could be a bit tricky because Wolves have a really packed midfield. And Xhaka is sometimes that key for us now that can drift forward a little bit and allows Partey to find those through balls. And of course, Ødegaard kind of drifts around on the right side, allowing Saka to push on. And it just works. And suddenly having that interruption wasn't great. But got to give it to Fabio Vieira. There have been questions about him. You know, he had a great game against Brentford a couple of months ago now, and a few good individual displays in Europe. But on the whole, he hasn't really set the Arsenal team on fire when he's played. And today, it didn't look great at the start. He was definitely not having the influence that Xhaka would have had, but he still got involved. He got the assist with the first goal, which Ødegaard neatly tucked away, and then the second goal, Ødegaard again, absolutely man of the match, deserves it. And I'm just so proud that we were able to effectively drop one of our most important players. Xhaka is so important to this Arsenal side, and we were still able to do a job today. I do want to say, though, Wolves did not deserve to lose this 2-0. I'll take a look at the stats in a moment, but genuinely, they should have scored 1 or 2 today. They should have had a penalty. Yes, I'm an Arsenal fan. Yes, obviously I would have been upset by it, but it was a penalty. Saliba did not get the ball, and it was kind of here, I want to say, in the first half, and it was definitely going to be a penalty. But yeah, a bit of a weird one from VAR. Traore is an unbelievable athlete, horrible to play against, I'm sure, but not very good at football. Guedes missed a few really good chances. I was really impressed with Bueno. Kind of wish his first name was Kinder. That would be amazing. Moutinho, Neves, Traore. I thought Traore was very good. Obviously had to be careful on his yellow card. And Neves is just, he's everything to this Wolves team. Without him, they'll struggle. I think they do work better with a 3 at the back. I liked Totti. Totti seems like a very good player. Totti Gomez. But in general, I don't think Wolves were that bad today. And I'm sure they're going to be fine with the new manager coming in, a very experienced manager in Lopetegui. Is that how you pronounce it? I want to say his name, Lopetegui, even though I'm pretty sure that's wrong. But he will be fine. Wolves have too much quality to be dropping into the relegation zone, especially with a manager of his caliber, his CV. But no goal for Jesus, which was a bit of a shame. I thought Saka had a quiet game, but that's fine. As long as he's getting on that plane uninjured. He's going to go to the World Cup and perform for England. Ben White, for me, was probably a close second, maybe third best player on the pitch, along with Gabriel. I thought Gabriel, White, and Ødegaard were incredible. We've got to talk about Ben White because the guy isn't even a right back, but he is now the best right back in the league, it seems. Obviously, I'm being a bit sarcastic. The crazy thing to me is he would not be going to the World Cup if Reece James didn't pick up that injury. Technically. I mean, that's mental to me because Ben White has been one of our best performers. Some of those diags, the pings, oh, beautiful. And Ramsdale had a very solid game as well. And Zinchenko, everyone had a very good second half. I just thought in the first half we were very laboured. Not great to see a player subbed on and then subbed off, but that's fine. It was in the 90th minute. So here we're looking at the stats. I mean, when you look at it from this perspective, just looking at the pure numbers, yeah, the right team won the game. But if you watch the game, and I'm sure I will go back through highlights, a lot of those highlights will be Wolves. They had some very decent attacking chances. They obviously didn't dominate the passing and the overall possession of the game, but what they did do very well was hit us on the break, using Traore's pace in behind. Very difficult, and it's not easy to go to the Molineux. I know they haven't had a great season, but any team will tell you it's not easy to go there and get a result. So super, super happy with that. Obviously, we've seen the table. Massive shout out to Brentford and Tone. Thank you so much for that today. And obviously, there's no fixtures for a little while. So we're going to jump straight into your comments. So obviously, at the end of every game, Operation Arsenal, get your comments in after each game. Ødegaard and Vieira together is golden. I mean, I'm still a bit undecided on it. I think Vieira wants to play where Ødegaard plays. So they're kind of, it's like having two of the same player on opposite sides. But it did work. We worked well even without Xhaka. Lucky to not give away a penalty. 5 points clear. So I think I've covered all of that really. But what do we think of Ødegaard and Vieira? I've done it quite a few times in my career mode, but FIFA's slightly different to real life football. Jay says, Ødegaard proving why he's captain. When we needed goals, he came through, and overall he was faultless. He was incredible tonight. Big praise to Gabriel. People have had their doubts, but I have always known Gabriel is top, and he proves it in the big games. He always comes through for Arsenal. Brilliant from him. He was absolutely solid. Saliba had a few dodgy moments today, to be fair, out of character for him. I think that's what Saliba needs to work on a little bit, the consistencies in his game, but the dude's 21. Gabriel is a few years ahead of him and has inconsistency issues as well. But yeah, he was very, very good tonight. I agree, Jay. Then we've got one from Rahul. Is that how you say it? Sluggish first half showed what we're made of. In the second, City beware, we're coming for the title. No, I've said this so many times. I don't like it, but we're 5 points clear. Almost halfway through the season, and it's kind of like, are we actually? I don't know. I just have a feeling when it comes to kind of late January, early February, when we're playing some really tough games, we're in the mix of the Europa League latter stages. All it will take is a draw, a loss, and then a draw. And you look at it as it's 4 games without a win. Maybe we've got a few injuries. Maybe we didn't have a great window. That's when things start to go downhill. And I'm an Arsenal fan. I've experienced this firsthand quite recently. Last season, we were dead set on for top 4 and then gone. Just gone. So I think if by game 22... that's going to be my magic number, 22. If we're still top of the league at 22, I might start believing. Might. Next comment is from Neil. Says, our away fans are honestly so good. Honestly, incredible. Felt like we were home. We've come a long way. The Arsenal away fans are incredible. I'm going to be down at the Brighton game I think it's in January. And that'll be the first away game I've been to since COVID. I'm sure it's going to be loud. The Arsenal away fans are just a different breed. Absolutely. I mean, they're legends. Absolutely incredible. And then Isabella says, we are winning the league. That's it. I said it. I don't care if it's early. If we get the players in January, we're winning it. Ooh, big shout. If we get a couple of players in the window, who gets in? No one. It's going to be backup players. Absolute must. We have someone here. Reports are Danilo, Tielemans. Either of those guys, even if Tielemans is next season, to get that deal done is great. but we need a physical player to come in. I think Danilo is going to be perfect, left-footed as well, if you didn't know, which means extra cover. I mean, it seems Arteta loves a left-footed player. Not that it matters too much, but it just offers us something on this left side as well. If Xhaka is injured, he could play that role as well. The other worry as well, of course, is on that wing. I have a feeling the Mudryk deal might be a bit much. 60 million on Mudryk. And let's be honest, okay, Mudryk is not playing in a top European league. He's not playing in a top European side, one of the better sides outside of the top leagues. He hasn't got incredible goal-scoring stats. He isn't a world beater. He looks like a very talented young player. Is he ahead of Nelson? Honestly, Nelson has played just as well for us recently as we could have asked. And he's been getting goals. He's been getting assists. He did very well on loan last season. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. It's a lot of money for a player that might not be that far ahead of Nelson. I do think Mudryk is a better footballer than Nelson. I do believe that. But 60 million is a lot of money. So I don't know how I feel about that. And I do feel like this right-back position, whilst we've got Tomiyasu and Ben White fighting for right back, it might not be a bad idea to bring someone else in to replace Cedric, who I'm sure will be leaving next year. So, yeah, those are the areas I would be looking at. And maybe a striker at some point. I'm not sure if Nketiah is really up to it to be the main backup to Jesus. Midfielder and winger. I think that's where we are. You know, if Martinelli picks up an injury, if Smith Rowe's not ready, who plays on the left side? Marquinhos? You see? And that's where Mudryk would be fantastic, or Nelson if he's still playing. If Saka gets injured, it's Marquinhos. It's Pepe out on loan who will go next season. So I think a winger is very important. But that's it for Operation Arsenal until after Christmas. I might do England reviews. It depends on what days they're playing. But I might just take a bit of time off reviewing football games. I don't know. We'll see. If you guys want an Operation England, then you guys can let me know. I did that for the Euros. It was kind of fun. So I'll do it for the group stage games and then we'll get knocked out, right? Thank you for watching, guys. I will be back on Monday with some career mode and Tuesday as well, of course. But I am actually away on Monday and Tuesday. So I need to get those videos done beforehand. But I'll be back on Wednesday.